In this lesson, we're going to be talking about hidden partitions. So the first thing I'm going to do is bring up computer management, and then I can go into disk management here. You can see I've actually got a couple of partitions here, or a couple of hard drives with a partition on each one of them. One thing that I could do, and this doesn't really hide the partition as much as it temporarily masks that it's there. So I've got the E drive set on this. Now I could remove this E drive. Now it's not actually flagged as having a drive letter. So when I go to try to open the Windows Explorer, I don't actually have that E drive available any longer. You can see I've got the C drive and I've got the other drives that are available, but that one partition is no longer available as a drive, which doesn't actually hide it as a partition or flag that it's a hidden partition. What it does is just doesn't give it a drive letter, so I can't easily access it any longer. Now, another thing you could do is use the utility disk part. And so I could select disk 1, and let's take a look at the partitions that I've got available. So select partition 1. So I could do attributes volume, because I have to do it on the volume, I can't do it on the disk, because that's a partition. So I'm going to set it on the partition, not the drive itself. So attributes volume, set hidden. And now I've got my partition, it should be flagged as hidden. So that's another way of doing a hidden partition, and that's under Windows. Now, one way of doing it that's even clearer is I could do fdisk under Linux, for example, and I'm going to use, this is actually an external hard drive, or actually it's a USB stick, a memory stick, and I'm going to do a partition, and let me delete the one that's there. Now I want to add a partition. I'm going to say it's a primary partition. We're just going to accept all of that. Now I can show you the partition. Now I'm going to change the type. And if I list all of the different codes, you can see that 14 is a hidden FAT16 partition, 16 is a hidden FAT16 partition, 1B, 1C, 1E, those are hidden Windows 95 partitions, 27 is a hidden NTFS partition. So I've got ways to actually flag it as a hidden partition. So now I can write that out, and now I've actually got a hidden NTFS partition. You can see that it's a hidden NTFS partition. So there are different ways of hiding partitions, and it's one of those things that a forensic examiner would need to understand. For example, just because a hard drive doesn't have a drive letter, or when you turn on a computer, if you don't see the drive showing up in Windows Explorer, you probably want to go and look through the disk management utility or disk part and see what drives and partitions are actually there, so you can figure out whether you should mount them. Or when you pull the drive out, you could run fdisk on it from either a Windows system or a Linux system, or even using the disk utility for the Apple Mac OS. You could use some utility like that to take a look at what partitions are actually there and see whether they're being hidden in some way or not.